Hello, everyone. I wanted to give a brief overview of this new game called The Consequence of Versailles. And I want to just give you an overview and show you the map and just kind of give you an idea of what the game is all about. Um, so, this is Consequence of Versailles. It is a hex based game that takes as much into account the Axis and Allies um, game mechanics as possible. So the essentially it starts in 1939 as Germany starts the war, and it covers the Europe, North Africa, and also um, the Atlantic Ocean and the Battle of the Atlantic. Um, a key mechanic here is that Great Britain only has a limited income, and they have to transport in cargo from other places around the map. For example, they would have to bring in um, cargo from Kuwait, from Canada, and they have to reach Great Britain in order for that to count as income for that. So they have a limited income within Great Britain itself. Um, so that's that part of that mechanic. All right. So basic game. You guys, if you've played Axis and Allies, you are familiar. This is the rule book, which I'm kind of editing and finishing up. I will be releasing this game to you guys. Whoever wants it, you can have all the files. You can have the map printed. Do whatever you want with it. You can change it, whatever. So the game pretty much works in monthly turns, and you have Germany going first, and when their minor partners are activated, then they'll be joining Germany, and then you have Russia, United States, UK, and Canada. Canada is a separate power, but they will use UK's force pool in for their units, and then of course Italy and France. And then the turn breakdown is going to be um, the activation of miners such as Romania or whatever, and then the check for the weather. Then there's a lend, lease, and purchase phase. You start with strategic bombing, and you move on to combat, movement, and combat. Now those kind of go back and forth because instead of you moving all your units at one time and then resolving combat, um, you're going to just do one combat at a time. And the way that the game works. It works that way. So I will explain that probably in another video. And then you have your non-combat. You do supply check. I try to keep supply very simple so you're not focusing on that. And you place your units and you collect your income. So it's very much like what you would expect um, from that. So let me go back to the map. So on the map itself, there's a lot. There's a lot of information on the map itself. So you have each power has their income listed on the map, and also the nation's rail capacity. Now, for Germany, they start out with 6 rail points, and they can upgrade to 8. And then you can see there are little rail engines here. Now, these can be damaged through strategic bombing. So if they take 3 or more hits, then you're going to lose one of these rail components. Each country has its own rail. So, for example, France has 2 up to 6. So Germany can, if they want to improve it, they have to pay for that. But and so you can only rail in as many units that country can handle. So, for example, Romania can have 2. So you can only use 2 rail. Even though you have 6 or 8, you can only move in 2 rail through Romania. Back to the monthly turns. So each month has check to make sure you can see that. Yeah, each month has its own weather. So now some of the months are automatic winter. Um, you can have, and if there's a possibility, you would roll for the for the for the weather for that month. And then as you get into the summer months, it's automatically fair across the board. So how the weather works is you have zones. So if you look, you can see that the fair weather zone is marked with this yellow, and so everything that's down in Africa is considered to be fair weather zone. So that will impact um, the ability for aircraft to possibly be grounded within that weather zone, um, or it also affects movement. And so you have the moderate zone that's in basically Germany, France, and then part of Poland, and then you get into the severe weather zone, which is going to be the kind of the ice blue line here that just if you follow this around, it goes um, throughout the map. So that portion is going to be so you're going to roll. You're going to have weather can be different in the map. But you have to kind of pay attention to that. So if it's winter in the severe zone, it could be possibly muddy in the moderate zone, and then fair is always going to be good conditions. Um, so you have that tracker. You're going to put. Sorry, my dog is barking. So you have the tracker, and then you have the yearly tracker. You also have on the top right, you've got a list of the production cost for all the units. And let's see here. So back to the map, you have these each of these resource hexes that's got these hashes here. Those represent resources. Now Germany has actually more income. They're the exception. Then if you count up all these numbers. These resource hexes can be bombed. So if they are bombed, then Germany can't collect that on their turn. And so if you look, there's a city here. So you have these factories, and then you can build up to the limit of what's in those factories. And it's just very similar to Axis and Allies. And of course, if you lose this territory, they drop down in income, and you know how that is going to work. In the cities, you have the capital of Berlin, Paris, London, and then you have these red dots that represent victory cities. Those are necessary in order to conquer the country. So for Poland, Germany would need to take Krakow, Poznan, Danzig, and Warsaw. They do have a resource hex here on the eastern side of the packed line. So this packed line, if you trace it down, it's this gray line that goes all the way down through Romania, through Bessarabia. So if Germany respects this, then as a result, then the Soviet Union will not be able to attack Germany until 1942. If Germany decides to take all of Poland and does not respect that, then Russia can attack whenever they want. And this line goes all the way through Lithuania, and then it even goes up through Finland. So there is a winter war scenario that Russia they can take all of this territory, and it's considered to be Russian territory after they do. And let's see here. So you've got your general cities, and now these little white shaded areas represent for the sea zones ports. So when ships are in port, for example in Stettin, they are considered to be in that port, and they're not in the sea zone. But it doesn't cost any movement to move ships in and out of that port. So if they're in there, they're safe from other ships. So you have these sea zones. So ships will operate in sea zones, while ground units and air units will use the hexes for movement. So typically your ships will have 4. So you can move 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can move 4 spaces with your on a turn with your ships. So Whereas if an air unit can reach that C zone, then it's considered to be operating in that zone. So, for example, if Germany has captured Norway and they have Trondheim, they typically will have a range of 6 for a fighter. So if you count over 6 hexes, they can reach quite a few of these C zones if they want to work in those or interdict in those C zones. And so let's see. All right. So Egypt is part of the United Kingdom, and the UK can build one. They can build infantry only here in Cairo. And let's see, if we go to the Soviet Union, um, these ports up in Murmansk and Archangel, they can be the British can, or the U.S. they can send cargo ships with IPCs to give to the Soviet Union. In the wintertime, these are frozen, so they're not going to be able to enter those. Anytime you see a little snowflake inside, that indicates that that's going to be during the winter months. That's going to be automatically frozen. There is a rule also that the Germany and just winter months, like for example December, January, February, they will also experience winter conditions. So that's an exception. So for Western Europe, they still get winter, but that's just during the solid winter months of December through February. So, but there's a chance, like I said, that units can be grounded, air units. There's also an impact on sub warfare. So if submarines will do better against cargo ships in bad weather, they'll have an advantage there. Let's see. I do have a number of charts that are on the map, and now there will be lots of handouts. I have so at the back of go all the way down here, the handouts. There are a number of markers that you can print out on some quality thick heavy paper, and then you can cut these out. These are damage markers. You can use whatever you want, but I just included these in case you don't have these pieces. And then you can mark air units that have moved on that turn if you forget. And then you've got construction, airfields, there's fortifications, supply mart. You won't have using these that much. I did print out some cargo ships for the UK. You don't, again, if you've got something that you can use for cargo ships instead, that's better. Some of the markers for the weather condition and whether you can mark these as far as if it's a month that you don't fly. And then Germany, here's the generals across the top. I did put these air transport units in here because that's something that maybe you guys may not have, so you can use those instead. When these print out, they are quite small, but the hexes aren't that big. So you have for each country, I have these markers, and so you can use these if you'd like for either fleets or armies. So you can put these off to the side. You can print these out and cut them out. And then you've got these little markers here that you can put on the map if you want to do that. This is the German force pool. Each year, you're going to add in these items into the force pool, and it changes and adds. And so when units are built, you have that limit. There's some special rules here for Germany, but you get all these things here. And then I do have a side map, which is, I think, really good to keep the map from getting cluttered because you're dealing with hexes. By the way, I would highly recommend if you can get the 5x5 map if you got room, but the 4x8 does work, and you can fit everything on there. But these side maps help. So if there's a lot of damage to, if you're bombing, let's say the UK and the US are bombing Germany, there's a lot of markers to put on the map. This will keep things clean. If you put this off the side, you can track your damage to the country with that. Um, Here's the UK. So the UK, again, you have another little side map that you can print out, and you can use this for whatever you want, but generally for damage or if you want to save some space. And then this is the UK force pool, Soviet Union. Okay. And I've got two maps because it's so big, so I have a north and south. And the Russian uh, force pool. There's a lot of extra little rules, but I try to keep everything as consistent as possible. And there's the French, Italy. I found these online. I just put them in here. They work. And the Italian force pool, United States. And okay, so you have your Axis minors and your neutrals. And then you have a handout here for production costs. It's also on the map if you want to take a look at that. Let's see, what else can we talk about? Also the terrain. So if you see these thick forests, there's going to be a modifier for those. You have light forest, you have little hills, mountains, they do affect. There is a chart on the map. That's on the other side of the map up here, so it gives you all your mods. So you can just check that. You've got your winter move, you got your movement effects here, and map key and all that. So when these print, they do print quite large on the map, so you can really see them. I have another smaller reference here at the bottom for turn sequence and what goes on, but I think everyone will kind of know what to expect as far as it makes it just logical order. And then you have a turn, a tracker here for income, so you can put all of the. So when you purchase units, there will be typically a delay, and so you can place. So if you buy destroyers at the UK, so you'll put them whenever you get them, say in 3 months or whenever they're available, and then on your placement phase on your turn, then you can pull them off that and then put them in wherever they can go. So that's how you can place units. So I will be getting into the game mechanics a little bit, just to. So the rules are just the rules are the rules. They're just there just so that you can try to cover all the bases. But I think if someone explains it to you, that it just makes it so much easier to understand it. So I will conclude this short video, and I hope this was informative for you. And I'll be back soon.